You see, something is going to happen. Something wonderful.
My God, it's full of stars.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the NY Patriot Show. Thank you all for tuning in again. If you are a new listener, I highly suggest to stick around and listen to the whole episode and check out the rest of my channel. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of things that you will like, especially all the amazing guests I've had on. If you came across this episode because you're looking for this, I'm sure my show has plenty of stuff that you will enjoy. So check it out and maybe even just hit that like and subscribe button now because you're going to like this and then you're going to want to subscribe. Today, I'm actually very happy to get into this. I've had somebody else on my show, Susan Fine Art, cover Gematria. I am very big into it. I do think there's something behind it. But it's very hard for me to find people to come on and have a conversation about it. You know, or people that are into it enough and actually have their own show or aren't too nervous to come on a show and present it. So this is great. Besides Lux, I feel like I really have nobody else to talk Gematria with, or not correctly. And I'm probably fucking it up myself anyway half the time. But at least I have TJ from Contemporary Problems on with me today, and we're going to talk some Gematria. So I'm very excited to do that, and I'll stop running my mouth. And TJ, I'll let you introduce yourself. Let everybody know what you do, what your show's about, and what got you into Gematria.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, I'm TJ. I have a show, Contemporary Problems. It's mostly the backbone and foundation is comedy. So it's like trying to bring the truth through comedy and trying to keep it that way. So it's like, don't shoot the messenger if I'm like making you question reality or like deep dive it into some stuff like that kind of thing. Hopefully I can at least do it in a way that doesn't hurt as much, because truth hurts. The word hurt is in the word truth, you know. So
I have to say, there is a couple of punk podcasts that I know, or like music podcasts that I know, that actually when they start getting into conspiracies of politics, I actually think it's a very funny and amusing way to actually kind of point out the truths. I don't know how to explain it, but like the couple of shows I know that take that approach, actually, I think it's a very good and entertaining way of covering topics.
Yeah, exactly. It's entertainment, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah. No,
and
for
then
sure.
Like, I thought it was funny that it's like the hardest category to go in, comedy. So like even just the humor in that just means that was like the right choice for me.
Good for you. Good
kind
for
of
you.
thing. And then I can just be like, hey, it's comedy, it's entertainment. Like this is for entertainment purposes only, you know.
Well, that could cover your ass on a lot of shit too, just on social media. If you say this is for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
I do that a lot on my own shows now. I hate that I have to do it, but I do it for YouTube because it's just like, you know, I could, like you were mentioning, the number 17. I could have said something in there that if I was making it sound like this is for a fact, I was inciting violence or fucking something.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I'm like this fucking moron being like, oh, this is just for my theories, my entertainment purposes. But it's like you almost have to say that nowadays.
Especially with the Gematria, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Like how deep it goes. And I do it a little bit differently. I deep dive into it. I look at the occult side of it a lot. And like I work with dudes that are kind of more on that rather than just like the sports or like some simple kind of stuff. Like we kind of deep dive the occult. We like decode the cube and like that whole kind of thing. And
that's what's up.
And all that. So it's pretty deep, and like numbers are numbers. So like sometimes it's pretty hard. Like if I get too deep in the codes, you know, like it does numb you out a bit for sure.
I was going to say that can burn you out real fast too, I think.
Sorry?
That can burn you out real fast too. I've noticed like when I fucked with Gematria.
Some stuff that I might get into, it just was like, it just melted me doing it. And it's like spellcasting too. So like you're using the numbers to kind of figure out the energy of the words being used and that kind of thing. So you can figure out what's being spellcast.
Now, what actually got you, I guess what caught your attention with Gematria too, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I've always been into the other side of truth, or just conspiracies and paranormal, like just all of it, right? And for a long time, and it was like the day after Trump was elected or won the election, and it was like, okay, we got Orange Man versus like the devil, like what's going on, like what is this world? So I just was tired of what I had as access to the truth, and I wanted more. So I was like watching InfoWars, and they were like very pro Trump and like all that stuff too. But I just like, I wanted more. So I was like, what's this numerology thing? So I got into that, and then I realized that numerology is big into words and all this, and like deep dove into it. So I got into it as from like that side, from like trying to decode it in that sense. And then it was just like there, and I used it, and I was like, okay, it's there. Like, I just don't think I expanded enough. And then I got into numerology as like a positive thing, like, oh, this is a spiritual thing that we can use like that we can use to benefit us, and like it's no different than astrology or any of that. It's just a tool and stuff. And like, math is a universal language, like it's a universal law. 1 + 1 = 2. So it's like it's deep in there. So then I got back into it positively, but then that was right before 2020 happened, and 2020 is just like loaded in codes. So it just like you couldn't not see the bad, and you're like, oh, today's a good day for expression or that, and it'd be like that day happened to be January 6th or whatever. Like it just always was lining up every time that I was like, oh, this would be a good day for this, blah blah blah, just over and over and over again. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll deep dive into the decoding.
Yeah, I would even say
like,
it's funny that you mentioned 2020. I really do think that was I mean, I don't know if it was just timing and stuff that I started kind of paying attention to, I guess, like social media and the TV again. But like I did notice then, I even thought just when it came to occultism, I thought it was just like when it came to politics, it was just so blatantly in our face with so much stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? It was. I really feel like, I don't know if it was 2020 or prior to that, it really seems like the occultism kind of like, in my opinion, kicked into overdrive, like blatantly for me. You know,
yeah,
I think
I
Gematria
agree.
is a huge fucking part of it.
Yeah, I think couple of other like decoder buddies, we think it's like, is this some sort of initiation? Is this like a trap that
I've
like
often wondered that myself.
Like it's just too obvious. But
I was like, are we all just being initiated in a sense? But because even from my experiences in secret societies, you'll go through initiations and you'll have no idea what the fuck you're doing. You're probably believing something, what you're grasping is probably wrong. You know what I'm getting at? Which is kind of like what's going on with, I think, the TV and politics and the media. People are kind of like being initiated into believing some fucking bullshit story.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just like kind of try and prove that it is bullshit. But yeah, we are suspicious of it.
Even when I practiced magic, has always been suggested, even in the OTO. I mean, Crowley was big with fucking Gematria. You know, even with that, like people suggested it, had pretty much said that like there's a lot to it, and that maybe you should look into that when doing rituals and spell work. But like, I didn't know anybody who actually really did or went that far with it. So like, not that I'm accusing you that maybe you practice, but I was just thinking like it was hard for me to find somebody who even practiced magic really get into my Gematria, which to me, I don't understand how that doesn't happen. So to find somebody who doesn't practice, maybe you're not into it as much as I was, to have on for Gematria, I was just like, oh, that's pretty fucking like, in my opinion, it's hard to get somebody on for this stuff.
Well, there's even like the magic squares and Crowley's magic squares.
Oh yeah, the
and
planetary magic squares. Yes.
Sudoku, if you don't.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar.
Yo, I had thought of that. I was like, yo, is Sudoku a play off of fucking magic squares? I swear to God, I've thought that because I was like, yo, it's almost like the same thing.
And then even in the decoding with that, the magic square, the sun is 6 rows of 111 that add up to 666. Yeah. So in Gematria, you see these 111 codes, and then you can use a Sumerian cipher, which like I can kind of get into and explain just how powerful that is. But it's basically like 6x. So A is 6, B is 12, C is 18. Like each letter represents that. But so if it's 111 in like your standard English, then it's going to be 666 in Sumerian. And like the V word is 666, mandatory is 666. Like there's a lot of interesting words that add up to this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do know that I've even said on when we covered planetary magic, the number for the sun, or Tiferet too, on the sixth sphere on the Tree of Life. The numerical value for that would equal to 666, but I didn't know it was because of the ones in the square. Did you have, when you were doing Gematria or getting into it, was there ever times where you almost felt like, I think you kind of got at it before, do you ever feel like it's almost kind of like looking at the code of the Matrix? Or like looking at the code of the system?
What it is. It's like putting a magnifying glass up to the cube, like that's exactly what it is. For sure. And like, yeah, I've learned the hard way that you can get cut by the cube or whatever. Like when you look too deep, like some of these codes are like decoding gravity and things like that. It really weigh you down, really put a force on you, you know?
Have you ever come across I had somebody on my show that I don't know if I would consider it Gematria. He was somebody who was like told something from a Mason about like a 6x5 square, not a 6x6 square.
Ooh, I
And
know
then
about
something
the
with
five.
like the 369. And this kid like went into all this numbered shit where he thought he was getting into like magnetic energy fields and dark matter. And I was like, what the fuck? And like literally felt like the kid was like unraveling the matrix in front of me. And I was like smoking and I was like, yo, this shit's getting too fucking deep. I was like, this is bugging me out.
I could
Have
do,
you ever
like,
came
note-
across that yourself too, that code? That's why I was asking you.
I
Or
could
the
do, like,
6x5.
I got them in like note form, I think. Some shitty note form.
Oh, that's
So
fine.
some rough draws. The 5 to 6, it's like the pentagram, the or pentagon, the hexagon, or pentagram, the
Yeah,
hexagon, right?
that's what I had
So
thought.
think about it like that. It's also even like the dodecahedron is like all the pieces are 5, like a soccer ball. And it's all the pentagram, so that's really suspicious. So the code word is foxes in the hen house, because 5 plus 6 equals 11, and the name for that in geometry is hen. It's like henagon or
Oh,
whatever, right?
okay.
It's all that, right? And so like I just have like shitty drawings here. Oh shit, which way we going? Other way.
Yeah,
So we have like the cube at the top,
Uh-huh.
right? The hexagon and the cube. And so when you put the pentagon in the when you put the pentagon in the hexagon, you get a fox.
Oh shit, okay.
So the fox is in the hen house, and fox equals 666. FOX. Those all value 6. So that's like the hexagon as well. The 6 sides.
Yo,
the
I
6
swear to
points.
oh, that's
Yeah,
wild. I
the
swear
6
to God,
triangles.
for a while I have oftenly thought that foxes, just from seeing it in
So it's the
tarot
trickster.
and
The
stuff.
fox is the trickster, and it's all that.
Yeah, even my boy, you know, it's funny. I was even going to
And then
ask
I was
him.
even like I have there the hat that they
Yeah.
wear.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I even have a friend, he's an artist, but I mean, he's a mystic or an occultist, Robbie Marks. He's been on my show plenty of times. And he has artwork, and he has a couple of foxes that he did, and he sent me some stuff. And I've been meaning to ask him, like, I kind of wanted to be like, what's up with the fox? Because, like, I've been wondering about foxes. I just have a feeling that I never thought of, like, throwing that into Gematria and seeing that it equal to 666. But I even thought it was weird that it has the word ox in there. I mean, when you get into Gematria, that's a whole, like, letter and thing in itself, you know? So is there a play on letters and words, too? Is it, like, something adding that F changes something with the ox? I just thought it was weird. And I had a feeling something with the word fox. There was something behind it because I've seen it in tarot. I've seen it used in symbolism. And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You just mentioned
So it's like a
666.
trickster and it's wisdom, but yeah, essentially it's like the 6 and the hexagon represent harmony, and the pentagram are more like nature's chaos. It's harmony through chaos kind of thing. So it's like it gets into like the whole grids and grid lines and everything with the hexagon and the hexagon grid lines and all that. And essentially it's like they 5 to the 6. They put their own grid line on top of this like beautiful grid line that's supposed to be the Earth's ley lines and natural like energy grid. They 5 to the 6. They put this 5 energy over top of the 6 is essentially like what we're decoding through this.
Oh, that's, you know, and then even going up the tree. Well, I mean, even the fifth sphere on the tree of life, Gabora. I mean, that's chaos, change, and destruction in itself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And they do connect. I mean, they're right there next to each other in the tree. That's weird. That's really weird. So, and have you ever heard of the whole 369 thing too?
Yeah, it's like we decode it in our own way. So like we connect that with grid and all these numbers. So like the way we see it is there's 369, and then we grouped the numbers 1, 2, and 7, and then we grouped 4 and 8, and then we left 5 to itself. And so with that, the 1, 2, 7 is these grid, are like the grid. The 369 is the energy, and the 8, 4 is the material manifestation of that, and the 5
really
is just kind of like the randomness of it.
That's interesting because I've always
and we do that through like gematria codes. Like I'd have to get my boy on with the 1, 2, 7 codes, but it's deep connected in like there's a website 37x73.com, and so 37 and 73 are these crazy numbers that are both prime numbers, and it's 12th prime and 21st prime. So not only 12 and 21 are anagrams, anagrammatical, mathematical. I don't know if that's a word, but they're mathematically anagrams. So it's 37 and 73. And they're just like these crazy numbers. So I forget. Oh,
You
the
got me thinking
127.
some
How we
crazy
got
shit
to this
with all that.
127 code was we were counting sequences in prime numbers, and we found the sequence repeating of 1, 2, and 7 with these like anagram things. So we're like, there's something going on here. So I don't know. We come at it. We're like, figuring out on our own kind of thing, just like self-taught mystics.
No, I actually find the numbers that you just mentioned right now are like really fucking kind of wild. The 127 I have come across before fucking around with numbers, and I have often thought is that just you could look at the tree and go from the first sphere to the second sphere, then down the seventh. You're going from Kether and then all the way down the right side. I do think the right side in a way is just like pure electricity. And then the 8 and the 4, I always see a connection with, because the 8 would be the prince, and then the fourth sphere would be the king, in a sense, or Chesed, or a lower arc of Janus. The image for that could be a king sitting on his throne at the fourth sphere. So, like, you're even seeing the Prince of Air kind of moving on to the king, or breaking away from such earthly things. And, like, the way that you would see that drawn on the tree, almost like again, I always say I think the left pillar is basically a magnet and the right pillar is electricity. Now, if you have that 1, 2, and 7 and that 4 and 8, you could see how when the 8 is down here, farthest away from that live wire, it's the prince. And now maybe as you're getting back closer to the source that you came from, you start becoming the king. Because that's the same exact way we'd be going towards it. That's just like shit that I'm thinking of right now.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Because when you said those numbers, I was like, all of those I've come across.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a lot of 8 and 4 symbolism now. I mean, even with, we've seen it with, what's his face? I think Elon Musk has, the 44 billion.
Yeah.
That adds to an 8, but it's 2 4s. You've seen him come out wearing that Baphomet thing. I mean, that was the 5th sphere, in my opinion. Is he also claiming the prince, too, going above that? I mean, the king. Yeah, I just think that I've seen a lot of 8s and a lot of 4s. I don't know if it might be Trump too, with what
Trump
number
is
your
88 and his text code is 88022.
which would the 2 2s could add to a 4, but whatever.
And then 88 plus 22 is 110. Elon Musk equals 110. And 110 is that 37 plus 73. So it's like,
Shit.
We're deep in it. Yeah.
Yo, yeah, could you get into any of that shit? That stuff I find very interesting. Like when you start connecting, is there any things that you've worked on recently where you found connections between names and stuff, and like what you just did right now? Yeah.
I have like a whole presentation.
Yo, then let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Cool. Can we do that with like screen share?
Yes, bring it up now, man.
There's different ciphers. So it's letters or ladders. There's A is always going to be the first letter. B is always going to be the second letter. This is kind of just like a little gematria rundown. So 1 to 26, A to Z, like pretty straightforward. See, that makes a lot of sense. Also, a thing too with me in doing this, I got to explain it like Scrabble. All the words have a score and they have points, and you find points that match the same. And with that, if you take all the tiles of Scrabble and you add them all up, like all the points worth that you can score in Scrabble, you get 187 points. My name equals 108. My full name equals 187.
187.
So like, meant to be kind of thing. And I'm really good at Scrabble. So,
I've never even thought of how Scrabble is kind of like Gematria, a game in its sense. That's what I never thought of.
Yeah, and like anagrams, like it's all wordplay. It's more than just that. And like understanding the occult, you really like see it differently. So yeah, A to Z, 1 to 26. You can also do that in reverse. So Z is 1, A is 26. So you just count it in reverse. There's reduction. Reduction is also the Pythagorean alphabet.
I was going to ask you about
Pythagoras,
that. Yeah, if any of that
big
was
numerology guy. Yeah. So that's numerology's one. You can reduce every number down to 1 through 9, no matter how big the number you get to 1 through 9. Example, the number 13 is 1 plus 3 equals 4. So it reduces to 4. So the letters just reset to that. Standard is kind of like your Greek alphabet. If you look up your Greek alphabet with number values, you'll notice that it goes up by 10 for the second row and then up to the hundreds. Same with the Latin cipher, which is also the Jewish cipher. And then there's also like the Fibonacci is a cool new cipher. This pump the streets, and like Fibonacci. It's kind of the fib of no chi. I'll get into that a little bit, but
Okay.
but it's a really cool cipher and it's really revealing, and I'll explain why. Prime numbers are always going to be in that same sequence, so therefore, like the prime cipher is really big because of that. Like they're indivisible, so they'll always be in that sequence. So it's a really cool cipher to use. And then this one is trigonal, triangular numbers. So here's a little triangular number chart,
man.
but it's like 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 + 5, right, would equal 15. And like a really common one would be the number 36, because the 36 triangular number is 666. 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 all the way to 36 is 666.
Shit. You know, I will have to say, even when I do gematria, I don't even like use so many different things. This is a lot of different types to use.
Yeah, exactly. That's like serious. Next level stuff. Yeah. But I'm going to be using these ciphers again, so like it's kind of, I'll try not to bore you.
Oh, no, this is great. No, this is great. I'm learning something new.
Spell casting in the Fibonacci cipher equals 720.
When I was covering Twin Peaks recently,
but the 720 is big, and you were talking about it, the importance of 720.
Yeah,
exactly. So I've got, this is all based around 720. Yeah. But it came from G's the 7th letter, the G20 summit. So I was like, and it was the 17th G20 summit, just to like further those synchronicities. Yeah. And then it's like, I just kind of like, I go down this a bit, but I mostly focus on that. So words are numbers. There's a satanic cipher, and words are numbers, which is what I'm trying to prove to you. And I'm trying to prove you spell casting. 720. So 7, right? We know the 27 club. So we can look at G20 as 720 or 27, ritual 27. And think, if the alphabet's 1 to 26, A to Z is 1 to 26, what's beyond the alphabet? If the alphabet's the life, if the alphabet's everything, what's beyond that? 27.
It's a thought before it hits.
And that's the 27 club. That's all that. Obviously these would match. And then see, there's that 172 again, which is very interesting because it's any combination of 1, 2, and 7. So these show up a lot, and it has to do with the grid. It's like, it's like the playing field, the chessboard, essentially.
Yeah. That's fucking weird. So you picked the 720 because I mentioned it?
So 720, that got me thinking, right? 720 turns. No, I had this going for a while, so I listened to your
episode. So then you're like, I got to show this
thing. And I was like, yeah.
That is a weird coincidence.
So like, what is 2? Yeah, it is. I know. I was like, of course. So like, I was just thinking, what are things that are 2 circles? We get the Ouroboros. I think 2 cycles in a day on the clock. 2 12-hour cycles.
Oh shit.
We get the 720. So like, what's all these 2 turns and everything? And then I'm like still trying to master what it means for the astrology, but I got kind of cool stuff to show with that too. And then just to show you a few things, because I also like decode from like the story is a tale as old as time, like Jesus versus Satan. And a lot of it shows up, and I noticed a lot of the stuff that I see in the news and all that, it's all just kind of this manifestation and game of this like good versus evil kind of thing. So your Saturn, he holds a sickle. Saturn is Satan, is Set, is Kronos, Father Time. That's why like rules this. That's the Ouroboros. And here's some gematria. It's a harvest, right? He's the Reaper, the Grim Reaper. That's what the sickle's used for. Tonight, Set, sunset. It's the night, rules the night. I just thought it was funny that skaters equals 93 because I was using this to explain what a 720 is, how it's 2 circles. Out.
Wow.
Right? It's Saturn, cycles of Saturn, cycles of 720.
That's bugged out.
Very interesting. He's even holding wheat in this one. And then it's Kronos, right? The Corona, the Kronos, freaking. That's what it all is. And even the crow equals 93, and the crow is like the black, like the sat. If there's the eagle for Christ, the crow is kind of like the bird for like the black eagle kind of thing, the opposite of that.
Yeah, that's.
And do you know it's another word for crows and ravens and all that? Corvid. Literally, they're called a corvid. like fucking COVID-19. Like, get out of here. And the crow, right? The crown, the corona, the crow N, the crow N.
Isn't Corvid?
It's
I
all
feel
in
like
our face.
is that something from some fucking werewolf
Fucking
show too?
corvid. The corvid is it's like ravens. What would it be? It's ravens, blue jays, magpies, crows, like those kind of big aggressive birds.
That's wild. That's really interesting that you mentioned it. So, because I've often the word well, all right, yeah, I'll talk to you about it off air. I don't want to start mentioning certain other shows' names, but it was just really weird. There's just certain things that just I'm noticing now.
Oh, okay.
That I'm just like, wow, somebody's name has 777 and the crow means 93. I'm just like, what the fuck? That's all Alistair Crowley shit right there.
Oh, true.
He has Libra 777 and 93 is him. And I'm thinking of other people's logos where they have crows on their shoulder. Now I'm just like, what the fuck? So
yeah,
just blowing my mind.
That goes with something, and like I think kind of the stuff I show and all that. I think like everyone seems to kind of be waiting for some sort of truth, or some sort of truth is going to save the day. I think that all the truth is already out there, and our awareness
you just have to find it
is just what is changing.
I think the truth is out there, and it's just
now you'll start to notice crows and shit.
I think it's just muddled with shit, and you have to go sift through that crap yourself and figure shit out. Nobody's going to give it to you. All right, so keep going. I'm sorry.
All right, so Saturn, like say Saturn 93. So fun with the 558, the Sumerian, that's the 6 times one. So there's Saturn logos is a 5, hidden 5 in the Saturn logo. Right there in the astrology. So there's a hidden 5 in there, and then the 8, the Ouroboros. So it's funny that in that it goes that. It's kind of just like the beauty of, like, I see this as beautiful, even though I am like putting a magnifying glass up to the cube. I still like, I don't know. I still think it's beautiful, even if I'm like, look at this evil or whatever.
Yeah. No, I know what
kind
you're
of
getting
thing.
at.
And like, but like you see the 93, they say the sun's 93 million miles away. So I think what that represents is the space between us and the sun is Saturn, and that's what Saturn rules, and that's what they're saying by that.
Oh.
And then
I've often
Capricornus,
thought that the 9 and
Copernicus, Capricorn ruled by Saturn.
What's your thoughts on the idea of like the Saturn moon matrix theory? Do you pay any mind to that?
Yeah, this is all kind of
Because I do think the 9 and the 3
I think that it's like
does go back to that on the tree of life, with the 9th sphere as being the moon and the 3rd being Saturn. I do think even the 93 can even be simplified.
Well, there you go.
That, yeah. So that would be like the moon Saturn matrix, in my opinion. That's why I was just asking you real quick. I did want to add that. Interesting. This is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's even kind of like part of the I think even pointing out that the 93 is Saturn, and that it's 93 million miles away, I think is like me just being like, look, here's the Saturn moon matrix kind of thing. I think that's like what a lot of this gematria kind of shows.
If you add the sun sphere into that 93, you do get 369 as well. Because the sun would be on the 6th sphere. So now you add that. Let's say you were to add that in between the 3 and the 9, because you're saying maybe the sun's in between both, or whatever it was. You would have the 369, or at least those numbers in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So then even here, like with the eclipses or the solstices and the equinoxes, according they say where the sun is closest in Capricorn in the winter, you get the upside down cross. There's matches in 93 capstone. It's the crown. It's the corona. Where's the crown? That's the capstone. And then think bottle cap, bottled in, like firmament. Bottled in. What do you do with your bottles? You recycle your bottles, the cycles. Right? He's in disguise. It's like the grand deceiver. We don't know he's there. He's the one covering the veil. And like I said, the raven. I think I said the crow earlier, but the raven 93. So that's like connected to that dark bird, and how the word friggin' corvid, like corvid, it's one letter added to the thing, right? It's just ridiculous. Crucifix, like I could go down that whole rabbit hole, because I think that the crucifixion is the crucifixion. I think the crucifixion is this Saturn moon matrix. Like that's like a hot take, but I think that's like how I see it, because the cross is also like a cube folded out. So like I don't know if I have like time to go down that rabbit hole, and those are bold takes, but back on the 93, we get gatekeeper, right? The black cube, even Vishnu, and Vishnu reincarnates as Karma, like karma. Saturn rules karma, reincarnates as Karma, and that's the turtle. And that's like Saturn is connected to the turtle and the turtle grid and like all that kind of stuff.
I've often thought that
which
the
I'm
turtle.
down with. That's like the hexagons and all that.
I've often thought that the turtle has been like the Grateful Dead. I mean, they fucking use the turtle so much, you know, and especially on Terrapin Station, it's just turtles at a train stop. But I have often thought that turtles are used as an occult symbol because of kind of the shape, the design on their shell, or more like representing the cube of Saturn in a sense. No lie, I have thought that. And the green might possibly go with.
Because they have the hexagons on the. They have hexagons on their shell.
Yeah, and I often think that sometimes green is used kind of
and
like.
Their shells are yellow though.
Oh, okay, all right.
So their shells are yellow. Follow the yellow brick road.
Oh wow.
Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the turtle shell. Yeah, and then even so like and then like trying to figure it out. So the bottom of turtle shell is called a plastron, which is interesting. So I just was trying to see what I could pull from that, and what I got is N, the letter N, and then portal. So N portal. So we're like, I'm really big on decoding the alphabet right now. I think that there's a lot of truth in the alphabet. I don't know if I can share that full story. I will a little bit, but so there's and like. Then there's Turtles All the Way Down. It's a book. And then there's like, I searched it. There's like 20 songs called Turtles All the Way Down. So it's like, it's a known thing. There's like the Turtle Grid, Turtle Island. I do stuff on that, but don't like, there's only so much to cover in a day. This is just like a funny decode that I was like a part of. So Luka Doncic equals 93. Top Gun equals 93. The Phoenix Suns the Mavericks beat the Suns as underdogs to go to the Western Conference Finals, which was just like no one saw that coming. And then Phoenix is the name of the female in Top Gun. Codes that connect with that. 22 days from her birthday to the release of Top Gun Maverick, and basketball equals 22. She's like, this to Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns beat the Mavericks. Pete Maverick Mitchell equals 114, just like the score. Like, yeah, you can decode the scores and stuff like this. It's pretty crazy. They won their last game, and they also won it by 33 points nonetheless. But got 100. Tom Cruise equals 123. Luka, he does the bang bang, and he wears number 77, like 2 guns. They're like, he's the NBA's brightest young gun. And shout out to that's Ball Don't Lie. That's an account. Sports and Gematria and stuff. It's really cool. It's worth checking out. So like we've been decoding a lot of science, going down some pretty crazy stuff. Well, the fact that there's even the 93. So like our joke is like it's the fib of no chi, and I describe it as like it's like the cube math. It's like the math of the reality that's on top of the actual reality, but because that math is what's on top of the reality, that is the reality. If that makes sense. That's how I see the Fibonacci.
Oh, you even got Cthulhu up there. It's funny. I think I mentioned them recently with Metallica. How I thought Ride the Lightning was a very occult album, and I said just from Trapped on the Ice and Cthulhu, those songs right there, I thought was like occult enough, and Ride the Lightning. But that's interesting that Cthulhu also adds up to 93.
Yeah, and it adds up in both spelling. I didn't include that, but Cthulhu with the K also adds up to 93. Yeah. And then in the Fibonacci, you get the Flower of Life, but you can also get the cube in that. And then we know that in the Star of David, you get the hexagon, that you also get the cube and hexagon. So it's this weird thing because it's like people think I fear the cube, but it's like it's just there. And like another nickname for the flower of life is the Daisy of Death, and it's more like mirror, like the 2D kind of thing. So like I'm a little bit suspicious of this. Like it's really cube. It's really in the cube kind of thing, where we want the Lotus of Life, which is more like this is duality would be the Daisy of Death, and more omnipotent would be the Lotus of Life.
Do you think there's anything behind the?
It's like wrapping around itself.
The hexagons and like bee symbolism and beehive stuff. Like, have you ever gotten a connection from that, or thought maybe there's something there?
Yeah, I think it's like, yeah, I think it's like that it's supposed to be the bees, but it's like the wasps take over, and the wasps don't have as much purpose.
Gotcha.
Like, because the wasps don't make honey, they do their job, but they don't make honey. So it's like there isn't as much honey. The honey codes show up deep. It's like with us, like, and us decoding it, we're just in such a labyrinth of it all that
Yeah.
it's like there's no like just how deep the net goes. Because like I think gematria can also be used. It's kind of like the red thread. If you have all these topics and you can use the gematria as a red thread to connect what you're trying to convey, kind of thing as well. Yeah. But then yeah, of CERN, it's a hexagon. Ridiculous. Like it's like all that's pretty in our face. And the Cthulhu, but then this is crazy at the 720 because if you add up the angles of a hexagon equals 720. So we're in it. And then to hex is an evil spell, a curse to hex someone. A witch in German is hex. So, and then even agon is a struggle, a contest, a conflict. So a hexagon is a spell cast for conflict, which is just ridiculous. But I think what it is also is like with darkness to light, it doesn't just mean, I think it means that there's things that were once of the light that the darkness took over. And I think that this is a good example because the hexagon is harmony. It's supposed to be this magical thing. And that's why it's supposed to be connected to the bees. But the wasps kind of, would see it as the evil spell, like the curse kind of thing. And, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. That's wild with the
Pretty
hexagon
wild,
adding up to 720. That fucking 720, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going down the 720s for sure. And like here's one, Kara Ya Satahala, the 7 tones of creation. They add to 720 in the Sumerian cipher. Yeah, and like angles and stuff like that, like important number codes and stuff. Like a hidden code would be like 138 because you take that's 360 divided by 26, so that's like the alphabet wheel. And then like a couple of 138s that are funny is Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis both equal 138. So
Oh,
like,
I think
which
I've seen
one?
posts about
When they both
that.
equal the same, right?
Yeah, I think I've seen
And
stuff about
it's
that.
just like shout out to the alphabet wheel is like what that code would mean, kind of thing. Or like 314. I have some 314s, like 'cause that's pi, right? So that fits with the circle stuff. So like this is more 720 stuff because it's 2 circles.
Yeah.
So then we get a capacity, which is 2 circles. And you like know how deep that is. That's the brain. We get Jesus and the Pisces, the Jesus fish, the pineal gland.
Yeah, see,
Even,
the way you
even
have
this,
it,
this depiction has the 2 circles in it as well.
the way you have it above the brain, I think that's fucking amazing because I do think when magic starts to happen, you hemisync both parts of your brain, and it kind of goes down the middle of your head, which is, I've even claimed I had wondered about Native Americans with their mohawks. Is that just a symbol of that, of them hemisyncing? And that part in the middle where they come together, that's the same shape as the OTO Laman is in that shape. The ears in the middle of the Vesica Pisces. And I also think it is applied to the pineal gland as well. I definitely, this is great the way you have it laid out.
Yeah, well, this is a calcified pineal gland.
Shit.
Which we don't want. And then, so this is even funny about 2020. So I asked a couple, like I was decoding and asked, like messaged a couple, like numerologists, authors, kind of people. I was like, how should I be looking at 2020? And they told me the number 40. So mind equals 40. And so 44 is the mind. So it's like, it's a very mind control. So in the 2020s, it's like that 4 energy. So my question to everyone was, were you able to govern your own mind, or was your mind governed for you? And then even further with that, with the 20th element is calcium, like to calcify the pineal gland. So 2020 is like that calcium, that caca. Like this is the Washington Monument, and this is Rome. And it's also, it's like, it's female anatomy as well. And that's even why they have these obelisks, because that's male anatomy and female anatomy.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing right there is literally sex magic. You're seeing the...
And that's like connected to like Egypt and stuff.
Yeah, I think that what you saw right there is going into They call it on the top of the tree. On the top of the tree, they call the outer robe of concealment and then the inner robe of concealment. And the outer robe would be kind of like the vagina peeling open the curtain, like they would do in Twin Peaks at the Red Lodge. You have that veil that you're going to open up. And then the male energy would be focused energy or focused light, which would be something like that fucking phallic symbol that is going in through the out hole, kind of going in through the outdoor. That's exactly what they're doing with that symbol, I think.
That's rockets to the moon. That's what that symbolizes.
Yes.
It's in Austin Powers movie, right?
Yes, that's what I think, and that's all
right?
Elon's doing.
Again, there, right? And the moon's the feminine. The moon is the womb, right? It's exactly what that is representing. It's all just rituals. So Saturn, then here's more two circles, because in the Taurus field we get the two circles again, going in and out. So I'm just like trying to, because the 720 is clearly suggesting two circles. So that was like where my 720 mystery was going down. So we got the Taurus field, Taurus and Saturn match, right? The toroidal field, the apple, a bull, Taurus, like Tauros, just like it's all the bull. It's all like this bull symbolism. That's your ball and Moloch. So that's your ball shit, you know. It's like all there, and that's the. So then this is just interesting. There's also the Taurus field, and representing the two sides of that.
Yo, we came across
and the fact
the
that
Taurus.
Saturn matches with that because it's the material world, right?
Yeah, we came across the Taurus field when we were getting into it. Have you ever heard of the Gateway Project or the Gateway Experiments? They do a show like even how they think they start getting into like hemi-syncing, and they start even showing how like the Taurus, they're even representing like the Taurus and saying like that might be kind of going on inside the mind as well as in a black hole. You know, so that's like some weird shit, you know. And I also do think there may be a play off of Taurus and Horus with the OTO.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Which I found it interesting that Taurus equals 93.
I can add that at the end because there's an Egyptian god called Bat, B-A-T, and it has the head of a bull. So I'll get into some bat shit at the end.
Bat shit crazy.
Some vamp stuff. That's even with the 84, and you think 1984, vampire equals 84. And I think it's like extra vampy, right? That's Count Dracula. Like, and this is the Gematria. So it's like, my joke is I'm counting Dracula, you know. I think it's deep in that. I kind of get on that a bit. But yeah, the Taurus is everything. It's like, even in the female anatomy, it's the clitoris, the uterus, right? We have a cerebellum, a cerebellum. And even that, the dolphins have a large cerebellum, and dolphins are called bulls and cows and calves. And like the Vesica Pisces, I wish I had this, because the way that the dolphin's brain works is then there's a third circle added because their cerebellum is so big, so that creates the Celtic knot, the three Celtic knot instead of that.
I know what you're talking about.
Like,
yes.
Yeah, very interesting. But like, here's the Chicago Bulls logo upside down. It's a robot reading the Bible, and it's Bibles. Right,
shit.
the two bulls, the story of the two bulls, right? And then who are the two bulls? Jordan and Pippen, right? So it's deep in that.
Holy shit, yeah, that man. That's like something that, like, once you see it, you can't unsee that now.
It's been many years since I've been able to unsee that for sure. So G20 and Fibonacci on the right here, we get the 33. And why that's interesting in Fibonacci is because that's the first 7 letters. When you add up the first 7 letters or first 7 numbers in sequence, well, you get 33. So then that's your A, your alpha, to your 7th letter, G, your omega. So the 7th sign is Libra, right? The omega sign. So your alpha to omega also connected in the 33, and how Christ is connected to the 33 and all that as well. I just have these codes to show that the 33 is prevalent in these codes as well. But then look, G20 matches with Bali, Indonesia, where it was. And then we're like looking up the stat says that there's 3,333. There you go, 3,300 rare Komodo dragons in Indonesia. So it's just like all the 33. And we know about the 33 and what they do, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's ridiculous.
Oh man, that's funny. That makes me think of like some Quetzalcoatl type shit. Like, but it's not. But you know what I'm saying? Like, somehow you got like a dragon.
Yeah,
that's weird. I find that weird with the
Yeah, the
17.
dragon, exactly.
Yeah. But not the 17. I'm sorry. With that, with those two symbols you have the alpha and then what was that, the Libra?
That's the Omega and then Libra,
Yeah,
just showing
yeah.
that they're the same.
It almost is. Yeah, it's like one's grounded though, almost in a sense. That's interesting.
True. Yeah, and then the air, the other one would be like the Omega in the air, but that's
Yeah.
also like it's the art, it's the ending. It's like I'll explain it. I have some astrology stuff to kind of explain that further. So I'm saying that it's all has to do with it's all the symbolism for like wheels and turns and all this. So summit matches in Fibonacci sequence with 360 degrees, the Tower of Agreement, and then even the fact that Twin Towers matches with that.
And the Tower of Babel too. Wow.
And then G20 summit matches with conspiracy theory. That's funny when these show up. So another one here, a little sidetrack. Give me freedom or give me death. What Trump said is a match with conspiracy theorists and primes at 7. Reverse of that, 377. Like it's all coded. Like you can kind of just take whatever and you can find the codes in that, the codes in that. And then even back on the G20, Russia Today was a channel that is getting canceled around the time of that. The Godfather, the squid god, right? Cthulhu, the octopus, the 8-legged one, which is also like connected to the Saturn and all that. The Palace, Frame, Judicial, New Era, Shame, 84. See, there's that 84 again.
8 and a 4.
G20 Summit, we got more. What are they trying to do? They're trying to create the narrative. You know, they're not adding anything. They're only subtracting. It's like the Watcher who talked about it. It's funny Fox News showed up. Like, what are they worshiping? What's this sorcery that they're doing? What is this witchcraft? Are they using mathematics? According to my math, they are. Right, death in a bathtub. Interesting, because who died in a bathtub?
What the?
Who died in the bathtub? Right, we'll get to that. Yeshua, Pirate King, the oak tree. You know, the oak tree, the joke.
Yes, yeah.
Or Yahoshua is one of the ones. I included autistic just because that's like a controversial thing that could happen with the thing. We get Starlink, Shakespeare, World of the Stage, 8-4,
wow,
and then we get 8-4 again. So there's 84. I just want to point out that. So then we're back on the 17th. Also the 17th G20. The 33rd prime number is 137. 17th equals 137.
Oh, shit.
So does spellcasting equals 137 and 720. And then some 720s in Fibonacci. Yeah, Law of the Land, spellcasting, Freemasonry, lunar eclipse, the flower of life, Freemasonic technology. Everything I was talking about. Even hexagons, which is like the grid. Runes are like the language made from hexagons. The fire language. Some other ones, we get Age of Aquarius, which like they're also doing this to manifest. Everyone says it's Age of Aquarius, but they're like also manifesting it, I believe. And the All-Seeing Eye, I Am the Zodiac, Earth Rapture, Babylonian Science, Polarity, the poles, 2 circles, magnetism, accept no limitations, time to fly. So there's some positive ones that with the 720s, we're definitely on to something. Yeah, sometimes it's just even better to like, I don't like reading them out all the time, but I know like this will probably be on audio too.
Yeah. No, you can read them out if you want.
But then we get Witch again.
Deja vu.
Like big ones at 720 here. We're looking at systems, economic plan,
human trafficking,
slaughtered, initiation, draconianism, Black Mirror, communism, Klaus Schwab, Illuminati,
Dionysus,
Trojan War.
That's bugged out.
Yeah, Dionysus.
Oh, and then you got Eclipse at the top for 69.
Yeah, it's deep in it.
You know what? You know what's crazy is that all right, you have Eclipse and then
these are reversed Sumerian. So,
but real quick, you have Eclipse, and then you have the ordinal is 6-9. Now, doesn't the 6-9 look like fuck? How am I drawing a blank? It looks like the what's that zodiac symbol? Oh shit!
Cancer.
Yes. What the fuck? I had a brain fart. I guess I'm too
Cancer.
stoned. Yeah. Cancer. A lot of times you will see in the Freemasonic arch. The Cancer symbol.
Oh, that fits with the fox in the box.
That's a lot of times.
That fits with the.
fits with the fox in the box you said, right? But I also think
Yeah.
this is from my experience and things that I have said on the show. A lot of times when I've had magical experiences, I do visualize an eclipse inside my mind's eye. And then the magic happens. And a lot of times they do associate that cancer symbol with breaking out of like the system, or kind of like breaking out of the archways or the opening where the all-seeing eye is. So like I'm wondering, like I do think, in my opinion, because when the eclipse starts to open up, from my experience, it is not like a moon waxing left to right or whatever it does. It's doing it from the bottom to the top. It's like an eclipse it starts out in as eclipse and then ends up as a full moon, but goes from the bottom to top. It almost looks like an eye opening up as well. So I'm like thinking, like, is that 6-9 even going back to the cancer symbol for the experience that I've seen with the eclipse?
Yep. And the fact that even cricket matches with that and is 6-9 and the 33. So the cricket is also connected to the beetle. And that's the scarab beetle, the scarab, like Karab, right?
Yeah, and they
And
always have
so
that by
the
their
scarab
fucking...
beetle is to the Egyptians, that's their sign, Cancer. And it has to do with enlightenment. And it's a scarab beetle shells in the shape of a skull. And so it has to do with that. Like, it opens it up. Like, the beetle doesn't just have wings and flies. It has to like create that energy like a cricket does. So it opens up its shell and then flutters away. So it's like, it represents enlightenment as well. And with that Masonic thing at the top, right? So we have the fox in the box, and then say we cut off the capstone at the top there, and then we're left with the trapezoid within the... I don't know if you can like...
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so that trapezoid is what's on top of all the doors, right? Trap door. The trapezoid's original name in Greek was trapezion, like trap of Zion. So it's literally like the trap door. Like, and you'll see that's the Masonic arch. You'll see it on doors everywhere. You'll see the trapezoid everywhere now. Yeah.
Wow, that's bugged out. That's like a conspiracy or coincidence.
And it's so simple. It's like, oh, look, there's a fox in a box. Like, it's just so simple.
Wow.
But that's kind of what it is and what I do. It's like, it's decoding riddles. Like, it's just, that's how I look at it. It's all like Satan's little games.
Yeah.
And they're there for some of us to see and recognize that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you even got Kanye West on that list.
This is huge too. Yeah, so Kanye West in reverse is a 20. He's a match with Saturn Day, North Pole, Tombstone, who knows? So CERN is named after Cernunnos, or some would suggest that CERN comes from Cernunnos, which is the bull. Like, it goes back to the ball and Moloch kind of thing too. Cernunnos is kind of that same thing where it's like a god of nature, like a bull god of nature. So every time that you're talking about Kanye West, you're kind of like keeping that CERN portal active kind of thing is like essentially what the spell casting would suggest.
I had even said last night, I said it's to the point to where with that guy, I think it was last night or whatever, I was on with Hush Hush Guys. I had said just with him, I said at this point, all it is like him, picture everybody's head as a hard drive or a filing cabinet. And regardless if they've heard of Kanye West or not, all he's doing is just getting more press to where more people's heads who haven't paid attention to him are getting opened the file and his name is going in it. And then they're closing it. He's just spreading upon millions of people's mindsets right now. There's just an image and a name. He's almost becoming like a god in himself among the mental population, the population mentally. Like sometimes that's all you're doing.
Well, that's what it is.
I think with magic too.
Yeah, I think it's like they're kind of playing out the Bible a bit too, or it's like the false Christ kind of thing. Like, they're really playing on that kind of thing. So I think he's just a representation of one of those. Another one, and that's even with the cricket, why they want you to eat crickets, because it's also Jiminy Cricket, like the JC. So the cricket, it represents the Enlightenment. So they like want you to eat Jesus. Like, it's like, that's also kind of like the representation there with that, is they want you to eat crickets because the cricket is the Jiminy Cricket. It's the JC.
That's we're going through a thing with eating crickets
lately
too.
Mocking of it, right? They're mocking Christ. Yeah. But another one here that showed up too is Jehovah, because Jay-Z changed his name to Hova, and Kanye's now Ye, like Yehovah.
Oh my God! How
It's
did
just
I never
funny.
catch that? Because I've even, I've known of him going by Hova.
So Vesica Pisces matches with Satan in Fibonacci, which is like everything I was talking about. It's Satan, and it's the two circles, and it's Vesica Pisces. So that's just ridiculous. The N word I cut out there is the one that's the Z, the one with the Z in it. I don't know if that's a sensitive word or not, but you could even just like read some of these out that really like kind of blow your mind. Like, what would stick out to you as far as like matches?
Oh, the Vesica Pisces and the mind control. I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
Amazon Prime.
it's very interesting. June 6th, that's 6. And then June 6th, even that's like 6/6. It's also the 157th day of the year, which is a big code, but it's also that's half a pi. 3.14 divided by 2 is 1.57. So 157 is has a semicircle, which semicircle codes go deep too. And it kind of has to do with death because D is a semicircle as well. So that's like a deep code in itself.
I even find the solar eclipse and the Vesica Pisces in '84, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
that's really interesting. All adding.
And Taco Tuesday, like I think about when LeBron James kept being like Taco Tuesday. That was like his thing. FIFA World Cup, like
You
the
know what's
tree of
interesting?
life.
The World Cup that they got right now, they literally have a Micmac medicine wheel logo in the middle of the scores.
Yeah,
That 8-pointed
and
star,
and
the way it
the
is.
final game.
It's 8
The
points
final
in
game is held.
four sides. 8 and the 4
Yeah,
again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's super coded and it has like the moon cycles and all that. I think Qatar matches with moon in Gematria too, or lunar. It matches with something very moon, which is very interesting. And then even further than that, the final game will be held on, I think it's the 18th. It's either 17th or 18th, and that's when the sun crosses the galactic center, which is the like black hole of the Milky Way. So it's like it's super locked in on that. And then cube, so 31 equals the same as Vesica Pisces. So cube 31, right? It's the frozen cube. You brought up the frozen kind of thing. So what's below freezing point? What's the first degree below freezing point in Fahrenheit? 31.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
okay.
cube equals
yeah.
31. It's like an ice cube, and that's like how he explained like even the Fibonacci or whatever. Is it's almost like geometry like frozen in a sequence. It's almost like they turn the geometry into like a more concrete structure kind of thing.
Well, think about energy and just in heat in general.
Instead of the geometry being more flowing.
All energy is like, what is it, like atoms moving together? When you do that, when you stop doing that, you're going to freeze. So like the energy has actually stopped moving, and that's why it freezes. So that is kind of no chi, no energy, you turn into an ice cube. I don't know. That's how I
like
see
frozen. Like it's like that's like the whole thing where it's like, oh, this desk in front of me is real because it's like the vibration slow down to this density.
Yes,
or whatever, like that same kind of description, right? So that's like, that's decoding the cube, right? So it's deep, but it's like at the same time it's like simple. I don't know, but I've been doing it for a bit. So this got really interesting here because it's all the zodiac. It's all this stuff. So when you take the Roman numerals of 720, you get DCCXX. And when you type DCCXX into the Gematria calculator, you get the standard English ordinal 58. And then as we can see, the 720 and the importance of that, we then get zodiac, pi phi, calendar, loop, rune, two circles, like star. We even get the word hammer, like we saw that word get thrown around in the news, right? The symbolism behind that is connected to that. I also just like include XRPs on there, which is funny, but I also included corn just because like there's lots of banned ones that show up, but I just thought that was one that's interesting.
Emeralds.
And then even further than that, the 58th prime is 27, so a different spelling, the Vesica Pisces, more of an original spelling. We get the 271 again. Like I always said, there's the 127, 7211.
Oh yeah.
Anything with 271 is a big code. We get the Ore Weaver. We get worm. Like it's all like satanic worms and the apple and the worm and like think about that. We get Medusa. So Medusa matches with Vesica Pisces, and Aaron Carter has two, and Aaron Carter matches with Bali, Indonesia, and G20. And we found a match with Vesica Pisces and Medusa, and he has a Medusa tattoo.
Jeez. Wow.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
I was so I have a TikTok. I like post the same shit, but for whatever reason it like blew up, so I have to like use TikTok more or whatever. So I was just like scrolling through, and it was either the day before or 2 days before, and you can like scroll lives, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I like clicked on it, and it was Aaron Carter. I'm like, what the hell? And he was like, we just gotta love. It was super weird. I was like, this guy's no energy, or like this guy's dead inside, or something. It was super weird. 'Cause he was just like, so just like, we just gotta make sure we love everybody, and we just gotta like have peace and love. It was super weird. And then it was a couple days later he passed. And then what was circling in the news was Pandemic Amnesty, and we have a match with Carter and Pandemic, and Carter in reverse matches with Amnesty in English. It's like,
shit.
it's just always in the news. Even saying Aaron Carter dead, 65 and 97, Pandemic Amnesty.
Damn.
Like you just see that in the news. It's so deep. It's like it's heartbreaking, but it's like it's kind of what they do.
Oh, the cosmic.
These
egg.
are some but even Fibonacci coding is a match with G20.
The cosmic egg. That's interesting. Ashtaroth.
Same as the cosmic riddle.
Fucking lunar cycle. Get vaccinated.
These we don't need to get too deep into, but a couple of them, like I wrote carnivorous because carnivorous is an anagram for the corona.
Oh, jeez. Got spiderweb.
But yeah, G20 Summit, we got a match with spiderweb, graveyard magnetism, even Gematria, right? They're like, come on, come decode this. We get the graph stuff, the
Gnosticism.
pretty sensitive subject. Yeah.
DeLorean.
Another one in the Latin cipher. It's a match with double 12, which that's the two cycles, right? The two 12 hours of the day. It's representing two cycles of the zodiac. And then it even matches with rainbow serpents, which I think you mentioned Quetzalcoatl, because Quetzalcoatl equals 141, and it's pretty crazy with the queen because she died 141 days after her birthday, and there's a double rainbow over the Buckingham Palace. Double rainbow equals 141. Quetzalcoatl equals 141. Reincarnation equals 141. So it's just weird how deep this stuff goes, because that's the rainbow serpent as well, and the fact that there's a double rainbow over that like you can tell who they're doing that shout out to. So yeah, these are the 33rd primes big. We just know the number 33 is huge. So the 137s, again, it's like spell casting, mind control, dirty trick, scientists, dissociation, a word I left out there, the 5, Emerald Tablets, Sherb of Satan, the Queen is dead. I've included Toys R Us because it's like the whole Pinocchio thing. It's like Saturn playing with his little puppets kind of thing. Where are the toys? Where Satan,
Master
Santa,
of
or
Puppets.
Santa's toys? Yeah, exactly. Master of Puppets, same thing. So from the start of that 18th, we get 1 year and 314 days. Like how it's a 1 year is a circle. And I think we can agree that pi, 314 pi. So 314 representing a circle. So that started between that. So January 18th, 118. So on January 18th, the nodes changed from Gemini to Taurus and Sagittarius to Scorpio. The north nodes are what controls the ecliptic. The ecliptic, what the nodes are in are what the ecliptic is going to be in. So that happened on 118. Or yeah, it's 118. So 118. Then the election, which is the same day as the eclipse, was on 11/8.
Oh shit!
So like that's just ridiculous. That the day that the nodes changed that rule the ecliptic changed to that. So that's saying that I'm now connected to the start of the whole thing with the 1 year and 314 also representing a circle. Therefore being two circles. The eclipse changed on January 18th. Meaning 118 eclipse happened on 118. So that's just like cool from like how like God made that happen, but at the same time they use that. because it was also exactly 42 weeks. 20 plus 22 is 42. It's a 42-year big time.
You also get the 59 minutes and 59
So
seconds.
it's deep in that. And then even G20.
You put that together, you get 118.
Oh, yeah, no shit. I have some 59s too, because the 17th prime number is 59. So because you fixated on that number, it's like going to show up a bunch. But then G20 also matches with Rahu and Ketu, which are the nodes. Those are the names of the north node. And then I have 4-7 here because in numerology, the number 4 is Rahu and the number 7 is Ketu. And then think if there's a change, it's like, 47's big, right? Think Independence Day is on 7-4, but then also think like the next Prez is the 47th Prez, which is a big, big number. So even with that, so I'm going to explain another way that the 1-8 shows up. So this is 2 astrology wheels together. We also get the rhombus when we do this with these angles. The rhombus like being a side of the cube. Are you familiar with the rhombus? Do you know about the rhombus a bit?
No.
In its geometry?
No. Well, no, I know of the thing, but I don't know what we're getting into.
Yeah. Or like it's like the Sims, the game The Sims, and they have the thing above their head.
Yes.
So that's like it's called a plumb bob and that, but that's the rhombus. So essentially we all have a rhombus above our head is what that's like trying to tell us. And we can like tap into it. It would be an octahedron, which is a pyramid on top of a pyramid. And when you look at that 2D, you get the rhombus. And they say to a lot of people that are controversial and talk about like time travel and all that, they say that it's like entering a submarine and you like slide over a timeline or something like that. And they'll always use the word submarine because submore backwards is rhombus. So there's something to do with the rhombus submarine, and that's deep in that. Okay, so the 4 signs that are at the corner of the rhombus, you get, when we put the 2 together, you get Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. Those are the 4 fixed signs.
Gotcha.
So that's Christ. Right, that's what Christ represents, and if you're familiar with that. And then on the inside, you get Aries and Libra. So like I said, that's Alpha to Omega. And then with that too, you also get Pisces and Virgo. So Virgo, the healer, and Pisces, the spirit, the spiritual, the fish. So all these signs, these are the signs that represent Christ the most. When you put the 2 together and to this angle, which is also 120, you get all the signs that represent Christ. Very interesting.
That reminds me of a unicursal hexagram too. This whole thing I'm looking at, the thelemic symbol. It's very weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we were just.
Yeah, that's.
And you get the owl as well.
Oh yeah! Holy shit! Oh, it's like or like it's got its mouth open, like a bird's mouth open too. That's fucking weird. Holy crap!
Oh yeah, no, oh yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. That's exactly what it's like.
Like a beak open or some shit.
Very interesting.
Yeah, the masks morons are wearing right now.
Yeah.
The ones that look like fucking duckbill mouths or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So the 4 fixed signs too are we then get the 2nd sign is Taurus, the 5th sign is Leo, the 8th sign is Scorpio, and the 11th sign is Aquarius. And those are the 4 fixed signs. And that's the man, the eagle, the lion, and the bull.
Yeah, you see those on
the eagles representing
tarot.
Scorpion. It represents the phoenix as well. Yeah. And then so with that, the 2 and the 5 at the top, we now know that the 1-8 is big and how they're using it.
That's right.
And then you also think 11 times 8 is 88. And then you get the 88 code, which is huge. There's 88 constellations, 88 keys on a piano. 88's a big one.
88.
And then you think it's like 2 loops. So it's like 4 loops. You think 4 wheels, even a car has 4, like it.
Yeah, that's wild. That how you have that 8 and 11 5.
You get 50 feet, but let's look at that 2. Yeah. But let's look at that 2-5 there. So we know that the Saturn sign is also a secret 5. So when we reverse the Saturn sign, we get a secret 2. And when you put those together, you get the sacred flame. So 25 is a big Jesus kind of code. in there. It's the duality and everything. It's very interesting.
That's fucked out. That's pretty cool. That thing right there, the 2 and the 5.
Oh, I had some 17 codes for you. Yeah, these are some 17 codes for you to look at, things that match with 17.
Red Pill, Ace of Diamonds, Book of
Straw
Enoch,
Man.
Name of Satan, Straw Man. That's Octopus, the Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah.
Paranormal. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And you know why I think
Yeah.
paranormal is interesting is because when I covered, when I was getting into covering, I think I covered Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, and I said that I thought that there was Janus symbolism. And on line 17 in Crowley's book 777, the magical power there would be being able to exist in both worlds. And I can kind of see how paranormal, or you think you're seeing a ghost, that could be like a manifestation from the other side, and now that thing is technically existing in both worlds. I think paranormal TV and ghost hunting, what we're seeing on TV, is completely different than what's actually going on. I think that's a whole other thing in itself, a whole other topic. But it makes sense to me how paranormal would be on here with 17.
Yeah. I think of paranormal. I think that there's different dimensions of it. That there's like your simple ghost stories, spooky stuff, and then like there's demonic possessions, and then there's like
even
going
just deeper occulted stuff too.
And then there's going into portals, and then there's going deep into it and stuff. I've had all kinds of degrees of these experiences for sure.
So that's pretty cool that was on there with that.
Yeah.
And then you got 17, the Fresh Prince. And that is for the Fibonacci.
Air, ball, air, balls, air, balls, realm, balls, firmament, Satan's for like, the bull's firmament, bell, air, ball, air, play ball, full circle.
Joker. That's when you got Wasp, Shackle. Credit.
Oh, that's
credit's
because it's the 59th prime. So yeah. Shells, I think like gravity or that kind of thing. It's like we're bound to this reality. Credit, we're bound to that. Bicycle, 2 cycles.
Oh,
think of that
2
symbolism.
circles again.
He fell off the bicycle. He fell off the wheel.
You know what was funny? See this? Oh man, this was wild. When we covered Stephen King, there was this thing called Pan America something. It was like this thing where people would ride their bikes and raise money. And I was even saying, I was like, it's some charity that Stephen King was involved with. I was like, or Pan Mass, maybe it's called Pan Mass, some shit like that. I was like, the pan and then the 2 circles, I feel like that's showing like the Wheel of Fortune, but twice. And I just felt like there was something up with that, as weird as it sounds, the pan and the 2 circles. And like the way you're bringing it up now, the bicycle, that's exactly how it was being shown, was a bike and it's 2 circles. Now I'm just like, maybe there really was something with that logo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 720. I was just like, oh, let's see what this G20 thing is. And then I'm like, oh, wait, this goes so much deeper.
Well, see, now even to think about it, what you said before, man, how did I miss that? The Wheel of Fortune tarot card is, it's not 12 zodiacs. It's actually a pizza pie, like cut in 8 slices. Now, when you showed before, you showed the 2 wheels coming together, but that was only a total of 8 zodiacs, right?
Oh, wow. Is the Wheel of Fortune the one with the 4 fixed signs too?
Sometimes that's like the world or something
Oh,
else.
yeah, it's the world one. No, that's a world card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe in the Toth deck it's something different, but yeah. I forgot what he calls it.
That is interesting with the 8 signs in there.
Yeah, because those are the only 8. Because I always thought that was weird. I'm like, it kind of looks like the Zodiac wheel, but there's 12 Zodiacs. This only has 4. But now going by what you showed makes perfect sense.
There we go. So this 59 is a huge code. And the fact that it's the 17th prime only just adds to it. And I might start at the bottom. Fid Shell. I don't have my Fid Shell slides with me, but it's essentially the Celtic game that all games kind of came from. So like if you look at Celtic mythology, sometimes it's some of the oldest mythology. The game is called Fid Shell. They say that that's like even what chess came from and all this. And it's like a circular board. It has chess pieces, but it also has an astrologer and a druid and all this on it, just like how Hollywood is like, the stick that the druids use to cast wands. It's like this Fid Shell game is like kind of the game that they're still playing, and it's Fid Shell matches with the game, and then the card, which card backwards is Drac. We're in the Draconian system, so that's even like a trip. And Dragon 59, and so it's like the 17 is just deeply encoded in the game now. It seems Black Mamba, Kobe codes go deep in that. Like I say, it's the Kobe 19 again. That's a whole presentation in itself, right? But and Kobe turned that B around is code, right? So it's like I think that they did this on purpose to kind of manifest us decoders for whatever reason. Here's some fun ones from 2022s. So you got. You could either call it the Twitter blue checkmark pricing or pricing the blue or pricing the Twitter blue checkmark equals 2022. Like I was kind of having fun with this, but this is also ridiculous. Kanye West conspiracy theory 2022. Like,
oh shit. What the fuck?
So we have Avalanche 22 in Reverse Island, Colorado State 22, and then I found a code. This is not great, but this did happen. Colorado Avalanche get to lift the cup 2022.
That's weird.
A Georgia Guidestone gets taken down 2022.
I'm glad this one made it. That was an interesting one. That was an interesting psyop.
The GS Warriors win the NBA Finals 2022. Both teams blue and yellow. Both teams representing war. The Warriors. The Golden State Rams. That's Ares. That's Mars. That's the planet War. Ram. Mars is the word. Switch that M upside down. You get Ra or War backwards. Like it's the god of war. So they manifest this. And this is the blue and yellow teams. Like a lot of us decoders and stuff are like, is it just too obvious that it's going to be the Golden State Warriors that win the championship because they're blue and yellow and their name is War? But that's exactly how it went down. And the blue and yellow symbolism, the beer, Corona beer, like the blue and yellow goes so deep. And then here, Ukraine-Russian war, 222. And then red, white, and blue and yellow match.
I even think with the blue and yellow, like you're...
So it's just ridiculous.
Even on the Tree of Life, I think that's showing you beast energy, which not balanced, you'd get war or you'd get Hitler. You know, like someone like that. You know, he had the blue and white people
like,
for the right side of the pillar. This has the blue and the yellow, which can kind of go with the sun or Mercury. So it's just very... I see a lot of the same kind of things in a sense.
Well, the blue and yellow make green, so I see it as like the green pulled apart, and green would be the heart chakra. So it's like dissecting the heart chakra, pulling it apart, or are they trying to bring it together? Because they just killed the Green Ranger. Well, they didn't kill the Green Ranger, but he died.
Well,
Pardon my.
A lot of people were wearing green at one point. Remember the time the Queen came out? She was wearing green when she hit that fucking sphere and lit
On
up the
her
tree.
Jubilee. And that was on 6/5.
We had
right?
Britney
pandemic.
Spears with green. Who was that guy? The kid with the fucked up eye. He was wearing a green hat. The girl who got shot in the school had green shoes with a heart on it. You know, there was a lot of green going on. On
the day of the Queen's Jubilee, where she wore green, the Warriors played the Celtics, and the Celtics scored 88 points that day. And Elizabeth equals 88.
Wow.
Oh, it's going to take a second. The codes are heavy on this one. So then Ukraine-Russia war, we get 1666. Well, that's the year the apple fell from the tree, which equals 666, right? And I was trying to figure out the root of all evil. And why do I get this 981? Gravity, 9.81. And then what's that 81? The 81 is ritual, vacuum. It's all gravity rituals. Queen, this is the formula for gravity, equals the same as Queen. She died on 9.8, like 9.8. There's a formula for gravity.
Shit.
And there's Queen. And they both equal 62. And 9.1 is 4. Chess move, 14 days. 14 days is half a moon cycle, going from new moon to full moon. Either waning or waxing. The big event, astrophysics, 981.
Wow.
And these are all like pretty satanic
Technological
stuff. Like
occultists.
Saturn serpents, selling my soul, engineering evil. Yeah. Well, that's why gravity's only a theory, right?
You know, I've often said that I
Deep
think
web,
that your
stay
gravity
grounded.
is actually the problem, as crazy as it sounds. I think that that's actually kind of like
Yeah.
putting us, that's keeping us, in my opinion, that this is just my opinion. I think when we're in the flesh, we're already fucked, and this is kind of almost hell in a sense, or the Matrix. We're stuck in a prison. I think gravity is what's keeping us stuck here. And breaking out of the gravity or breaking out of that energy is what magic actually is.
Exactly.
Releasing that stuff. So I do think, in a sense, like
Yeah, exactly.
even the
Well,
vacuum, I think fits in. You're hermetically sealed, possibly under a dome, for all I know. You know.
yeah, exactly. Saturn's, they tell us Saturn's gravity is 1044. So now I'm like, okay, 1044 is a code. Oh, look, vacuum equals 1044. Because I think gravity is more of a vacuum. It's more of like a loose vacuum than it is. And that fits with my whole, like, I think it's pretty vampiric up in here. And that they're suckers, right? Parasitic, right? That kind of thing just fits with that whole Dracula, draconian dragon. It's all kind of that stuff. But 1044 is like New World Order, currency reset, number of the beast, eye of the storm, secret societies,
Saturn
Gnostic
ritual,
truth.
Tower of Despair, Saturn vacuum.
Yeah, Saturn
Yo, Homer
ritual,
J.
black cube of
Simpson.
Saturn.
Oh man, the storm is coming. Oh my God. What is trust the plan?
And this was kind of from a post too I think you commented on it too, where it was like Katy Perry I equals 1044. So I'm like, and it happened on Katy Perry's birthday. So the birthdays are rituals. So Katy Perry I was like the most trending thing on her birthday. And it's a match with all this New World Order and all this. So like by posting Katy Perry is literally the opposite of fighting against the New World Order. So here's that 981 again. And this kind of goes with the gravity stuff. So the word lie flipped upside down. And lie upside down, the 66 prime number is 317. Lie upside down equals 66. What lies upside down? Bats. What sleeps upside down? Like it's extra vampy. It's like it's the Dracula stuff. But the fact that matches in primes with the gravity code of 981 is very interesting. But this goes with metamorphosis because something else lies upside down. There's only two things that really lie upside down.
So you know what's funny? Now
So
that
it's
has
either become a bat or a butterfly.
it's making me think of like the Hangman card in a different way now.
Oh, there you go. Oh, true, because he's all good. He's like, yo, I'm good.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
totally
He's like,
okay
oh, I'm
with
just
what's
chilling,
going on,
son.
right? Yeah, he's like, I know this has its purpose.
Fuck.
And then in the butterfly and like it's called chrysalis, right? Like Christalis.
Crystal.
So it's like you either do the bat or a butterfly. And there's a Smashing Pumpkins song, "The World Is a Vampire," and that song's called "A Bullet for a Butterfly" or whatever. I don't remember the exact name, but the name like that is something like that. So it's in there telling you that it's like the bat or the butterfly.
I think the butterfly
Have
gets.
you heard of the sphenoid bone? But it's
What the
like
hell is that? Oh,
this.
okay.
It's behind our eyes, and it's like this butterfly bat looking bone thing. Very interesting.
I've often thought because of the
Very
sigil of
interesting. So I think
Baal,
that there's some.
the sigil of Baal can look like a bug or a flying bug. I have often wondered if people do use butterflies and shit like that to represent Baal as well because of his sigil.
I think the butterfly's like the good enlightenment, but then they've corrupted where it's like, oh, look at all the monarch symbolism, Illuminati, this and that kind of
Oh,
thing.
well, there's an enlightenment on your own, and then there could be an enlightenment that you're forcing on somebody else. There's two different things.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
and
I'm
then
saying?
there's like you think butterfly and the moth, the bee, the wasp, like that kind of thing too, right? So there's like there's dark enlightenment.
I mean, even like the
That can
rising
happen as
phoenix.
well.
I mean, that could be a good thing if it's a self-discovery experience. You know what I'm saying? But if it's being forced upon you, you
Exactly.
may not know the truth. I wish I would have had my co-host from the Occult Rejects here for that one. Damn. I'm sure he would have seen a lot more, probably would have seen
True.
completely different stuff, but that was a lot of weird shit, just how
Yeah, exactly.
that fucking number stuff. You're gonna
And
have
that
me
was just
going
one
through.
topic, and that covered.
You're gonna have me going through like planets, gravity things now, or like I'm gonna take like like the certain colors, vibrations, and I'm gonna put the number rate into Gematria and see like what words come out of it now. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was one website that shut down, and I actually was decoding it. I have them kind of saved in a file, but it was a lot of work to get what I was doing. But essentially, I typed out every tarot card, every kind of astrology keyword, every color, every number. Like I did 1 to 100, like all these things, and seeing what connects with certain energies and stuff. And like once you have all that data input, you can just like search for a certain number and see what lines up. So I was working on like that whole kind of thing and connecting that with tarot, because I thought that was like a really cool way to learn tarot if these two cards mean the same or could lead into each other, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's you really, yeah, I gotta have you back on again, or maybe actually have you come on for specific things. I really like to see like the tarot and Gematria and stuff like that. That would be fucking wild. I mean, you even got me. I'm like thinking again about that Wheel of Fortune shit.
Oh, true.
That's why I really wish Lux was here for that too, because I think that would have blown him away. He would have been like, holy fuck. Like, I literally got to tell him about that after we get off the show. Because me and him have been like kicking around the idea, like, what's up with Cancer? Why does that fit there? And then like, why is like the Wheel of Fortune 8 instead of 12 and all that stuff? It's really weird. That's some bugged out shit. Do you want to let everybody know? I guess we'll wrap it up here too.
Sure.
Do you want to let well, no, you introduced yourself at the beginning, but let everybody know where they can also find your stuff again. Let everybody know your show, any links that you want to promote, all that stuff too.
True. You can follow me on most social media things at @contemporaryproblems_. I make a lot of memes, do pretty funny posts. And then, same with just their Contemporary Problems on most stream sites. And then all my other links are linktr.ee/bunnymasterstudios. Follow the Bunny Master, follow Rabbit if you need to.
Oh yeah, actually, I think I can. I'll grab that. What do you have a link tree or something, right? That has everything on it.
Yeah.
I'll grab that off of your Instagram, and I'll make sure that that's in the bottom with the notes anyway. So we'll have all your links for all that stuff. I'll put up your link tree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yo,
like if there's ever if there's stuff you need to like decode or like something decoded, you definitely like let me know. And
for sure.
That specific thing for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to start hitting you up more. Like when I come across like some interesting Gematria stuff, just run it past you and see what you're thinking. Because sometimes I do think, unfortunately, garbage does get put out there that ends up making Gematria look stupid. But in my opinion, I also think, like you said before, you agree with me. I think you can find the code to the system in there as well if you want to try staring into that.
There's a lot of rules, and you can make it look like it's in your favor. But I try and like if I'm posting it, I want like 10 matches that relate to it, like Octopus and Magic 8 Ball, that kind of stuff. You know that those are connected to.
Gotcha. Exactly.
Yeah, that whole kind of thing.
All right, so I have your link in the bottom. Thank you very much for coming on. Sorry about the connection difficulties. That was probably a pain in the ass for your end too. Sorry about that, but I will edit this out, so it should sound a lot better. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for spending. I mean, you put stuff up on the screen. You know, you had a presentation. I thought that was amazing in itself. So I appreciate that for real. And hopefully people, knowing that he had a presentation, I would suggest checking this out in the video format. It would probably help a lot more so you understand what you're looking at. You could pause the screen, read all the graphs that he had up and all that stuff. So I highly suggest to check this out on BitChute or YouTube as well. I don't know if it'll be on Rumble. I think I might be ditching Rumble. So yeah, at least check it out on YouTube and BitChute if you're listening to it. If you thought it was cool, go back and check it out on the video. It'll be a totally different experience. Yeah, and that's about it. That's enough out of me. I thank you very much for coming on again, my man. I will definitely have to get you back on, and maybe we'll nail down a certain few topics or whatever. But yeah, till the next one, Everybody be well. Later.